listening to Give God 90, where we're not afraid of the tough biblical questions, because we will dig through the language, the culture, and the history to find the truth revealed in the words of our Creator.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for letting us spend some time with you. I am being monitored and supervised, although I may wind up being the one to supervise.
I need supervision tonight. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
You'll understand why in a few minutes. Trust me. I
am not the Hebrew grammarist, for sure.
If you like what you hear, just a friendly reminder, hit those like buttons and share buttons, all those good things. Just makes it easier for people to find us, just like you did. If you haven't been to GiveGod90.com lately, you might want to check that out. Author Jerry Mitchell, all one word. That's where all the books are sold. So hopefully that's got all the advertisements out of the way. There's not that much in the news this week to really talk about, but, give it a few minutes. There'll be something pop up. Trust me. That's just the world we live in. Oh my, we're going to jump right in here tonight. If you're new to the podcast, you may not have heard me talk about how each of us have been given certain skills, certain talents that we are supposed to use to benefit the people around us, right? When that happens, right, the people around us then use their skills and their talents, and we benefit in return. It's the closest thing I can liken this to would be a bartering system. If you know how to do something, I know how to use my skill, I'll benefit you. You know how to use your skill, you benefit me. But you kind of see how that works, right? I hope. Am I explaining that kind of right? Okay. But throughout all of this, there's some questions that I may not have answered the way I should have. And I mean, I wasn't wrong. I just didn't explain them thoroughly so that people could understand them. And, questions like, where do these skills come from? How do we recognize them? How should we develop them so we can use them? That kind of thing. And we're going to start. And here's where I might be supervising with some things out of the Bible. And no, she is not the world's best Hebrew names person. So go ahead and try that.
Lamech married two women. One wife was named Adah. The other was Zillah. Adah gave birth to Jabal. He was the first person to live in tents and raise cattle. Jabal's brother was Jubal. Jubal was the first person to play the harp and the flute. Zillah gave birth to Tubal-Cain. He made tools out of bronze and iron. The sister of Tubal-Cain is Naamah. Genesis chapter 4, verse 19 through 22. Now here's where you have to be patient with me. Then the Lord said to Moses, "See, I have chosen
Bezalel,
son of Uri, from the tribe of Judah. Uri was the son of Hur. I have filled Bezalel with the Spirit of God. I have given him the skill, ability, and knowledge to do all kinds of work. I have given him... He is able to design pieces to be made from gold and silver and bronze. He is able to cut jewels and put them in metal. And he can carve wood. Bezalel can do all kinds of work. I have also chosen Oholiab, son of Ahisamach, from the tribe of Dan. Oholiab will work with Bezalel. I have given skills to all skilled craftsmen. They will be able to make all these things I have commanded you. Exodus chapter 31, verses 1 through 6. Before I made you in your mother's womb, I chose you. Before you were born, I set you apart for a special work. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5.
If you ever wondered why we don't name our children Bezalel or things like that, the reason is, quite honestly, nobody can pronounce those names because they haven't been heard in years and years and years. It's not like Jack and Fred, John and Bob. But they all have a meaning. They all have a special meaning. Not going there tonight, though. Genesis 4 is, it describes the children of Cain, right? That's who's being referred to. But why does the Bible choose to tell us about Cain's children? Well, they were important. Like Enoch, right? Enoch was the first and most translations will read that it was Cain who built the city and named it after Enoch. However, according to Umberto Cassuto and his reading of the original Hebrew, it was Enoch who built the city. A more literal translation would be he was a city builder. That was his skill. That was apparently his occupation. Now, I'm not going to get into Enoch and how he was removed from the earth. That's a completely different subject, as in the, just like the book of Enoch that we have today, right? But apparently Moses thought it was important that we know the complete history of the family of Lamech, right? Now, I want to point out that these children are given special skills, special talents that could not possibly have come from any type of evolutionary precept. It would have been impossible. It's emphasized in the Exodus passage where we read, I have filled Bezalel with the Spirit of God. I have given him the skill, ability, and knowledge to do all kinds of work. The Creator himself tells Moses that the skill and talent that Bezalel has, he was given by the Creator himself. And hopefully you're familiar with the Jeremiah passage. Before I made you in your mother's womb, I chose you. I set you apart. I appointed you. The only reason that Jeremiah was able to be a prophet, it was the Almighty himself who gave him that skill to do it. And again, all those things are witnessed in Isaiah 44:2. This is the word of the Lord your Maker, who formed you from the womb and who will help you. Don't be afraid, O Jacob, my servant. Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. And again, Job 31:15. Did not he who made me in the womb also make them? Did not the same one form us in the womb? All of these things, all of these references that help us bring these ideas together, that we don't get skills and talent from the things we do. They come to us from the Almighty himself. They're given to us before we are even conceived. Think about that. Now, whether you are a Rush Limbaugh fan or not, he was almost correct when he used the phrase, and he used it all the time, talent on loan from God. Where do you think he and all of these other folks were able to get their talent from? It didn't just appear. If evolution were true, who in the world would have been the first person who would have thought, you know what, if I crush this wheat and grind it into flour, I can make bread. Think about all the plants there are around that will either make you sick or kill you. You only get to try it once, right? We were on a Zoom meeting the other night, and Myra had given me something, and I was talking about it, and one of the participants said, "Oh, so you try just about anything?" I said, "Well, except hemlock, you only get to taste that once." Right? Like a lot of other things. Now, our Creator gives us these skills and talents. Even if we want to do something different, we will never be as good as doing the things that we're given the skills and talents for. Even if you practice and do these, that you try to do things that you want to do. I knew someone a long time ago. His use of carpentry tools, he was so precise. To watch him work on a piece of wood, you might think he was like a wood surgeon, right? He was that skilled, but he didn't start out that way. He spent a lot of years as a police officer. But it wasn't until after he retired, he was able to figure out just how skilled he was as a woodworker. And he could turn a piece of lumber into a thing of beauty. I've read about people. One person in particular, he wanted to play the piano, and he was able to read the notes and he was able to play the music, but it never sounded the way it was supposed to. It never sounded fluid. It was more, it was more mechanical than musical. There was just no feeling in the notes that were played. Now, apparently this person was very skilled in the kitchen. He could bring tastes together that were apparently amazing, right? From the article I read. But, he wanted to play the piano, and no amount of practice, no amount of time was he able to play the piano so that it satisfied even his ear. I look back at the things I've done. And I spent a lot of years, working with animals, and I did a good job. Yeah, I did okay. I think about some of the other jobs I've done, and I was equally good at some of them. I enjoyed some I didn't. I was good at some of the things I didn't like too. But it was preparing me for what I do now, and that is to try and take the Bible we have and break it down into understandable components so that as you begin to put it together, you're more able to see how these things fit together. And then that way, you're able to live the way you're designed to live. I'm going to tell myself just a little bitty bit here. Myra and I have been married 33 years. Yes, 33 years. And in 33 years, there's two things she will not let me do, ever. One is paint. When I paint, everything gets painted. Things that shouldn't get painted, get painted. Yes, including me. I'm sloppy at it. I don't take my time. I don't enjoy it. It's just one of those things, if it's supposed to be a certain color, everything's going to be a certain color. Trust me. The other thing she won't let me do is laundry. Because in my mind, if it's dirty, you put it in the washer and it comes out clean. But apparently, there's much more to it than that.
Yes.
I was never given the skill or talent for painting or laundry, right? I wasn't. That's not in the person I am. But the good news is, I can repair a washing machine if I need to. If I'm out in the shop and I have a metal part that needs painting, and I could take the spray gun outside or in the paint room, and then the paint goes where it's supposed to go because it has to be confined, right? So I can do that, but to paint, a room in a house, to paint a wall,
No.
nope, everything's getting painted.
No.
So how do we identify the skills and talents we're given? Now, that's a little more difficult to answer, right? An old man told me a long time ago, it's equally important to know in life what you don't want to do as it is to know what you do want to do. So let's start there. Maybe you think you'd be a great piano player or a great baseball player, but no matter how much you practice, you can't make the music sound right. Maybe no matter how much you practice, you can't consistently catch a ball. Chances are, those would not be good choices for you, right? Maybe you want to be a chef, but you can't get the right combination of spices and herbs to make the food taste the way you want it to taste. When there's something that no matter how much you think you want to be able to do it, no matter how hard you practice, no matter how hard you try, chances are if you're not able to get the result you want, you might not have those skills to apply to what you're trying to do. When you're fond of something, right? When you find something you're really, really, really good at, I mean really good at, you might have the skill for it, but if you don't enjoy doing it, that's usually not a real good combination, right? The little bit of time I spent doing one job, was I good at it? Yeah. Did I enjoy it? Absolutely not. Hated it. But finally, when you find something you're really, really good at doing and you enjoy it, that might be the right combination. Notice I say it might be the right combination, because if you enjoy it and you're good at it, but it has absolutely zero benefit for anyone else, it's not going to pay your bills, right? Because you're not going to have anything to barter with. You can't trade a skill if it only satisfies you. You can't benefit someone else. Then you can't trade that for someone else's skill when they have a skill that's going to satisfy others. And it can be hard to figure out what you're good at and what can benefit the people around you. And that answers another question. How should we use the skills and talents that we have? Well, we use the skills and talents we have to benefit the people around us. Think about a doctor. Might be the best doctor in the world, but they're a very, very poor mechanic. So the mechanic, when he gets sick or she gets sick, they go to the doctor. But the doctor will take his sick car to the mechanic because the doctor has the skills to heal people. And the mechanic has the skills to heal a vehicle, right? That's simple. A lawyer needs to look professional in the courtroom, but I don't know any lawyers, I've never met any lawyers, that might have a way to dry clean and press their suits in their home, right? And I haven't met anyone yet who owns and operates a dry cleaning business that also has a law degree. There might be a few around. I just haven't met one yet. So they take their skills and they trade. When the lawyer needs his suit cleaned and pressed, he goes to the dry cleaner. When the dry cleaner needs a lawyer, he goes to the lawyer. Now, maybe you're thinking, well, that sounds great for those people who make a lot of money, but what about somebody who doesn't make as much money? Well, think about a taxi driver. taxi driver goes home, takes the trash out, sets it next to the curb. The person that picks up trash comes and gets it. Right? Well, when the person who works for the trash company needs a ride to the airport or somewhere else, they call the taxi driver. You see how it works? If you're skilled at driving a taxi and you enjoy it, you enjoy the people, then the people that you benefit are going to come see you. If you work for a trash pickup service and you're good at it, people are going to hire you. They're going to say, oh, I need you to pick up my garbage and get rid of it for me. And when you need something, you can come see me. The exchange of skills and talents, it has no barriers. The only boundaries are in your imagination. You know, you don't want to grow your own fresh vegetables? What do you have to offer the farmer down the road who has plenty? The thing is, as long as we don't think selfishly and it's all about me, the system works. And it works because we're going to be using the skills that come directly from our Creator and He wants us to use those skills to benefit His creation. It's that simple. Did I explain all of that satisfactorily this time?
You did.
Okay. So think about what you're good at, what you enjoy, and how it benefits others. I know a lot of young people that are kind of floundering around today going, well, I don't know what I want to do in the world. Is it really worth my time to learn how to do something in the world we live in today? And the answer is yes, it is. If you're willing to take the things that you know how to do, the skills, think about a person, and I'll use one granddaughter as an example. Artistically talented. Very artistically talented. How does she take that talent and benefit others? Well, there's a lot of ways that I gave her that she hasn't even thought of until, oh, I can do that and I can do that. Well, yeah. You know, there's more to art than graphic design on a computer, believe it or not. She doesn't, that's not a medium that she focuses on at all. Her favorite is clay, but there's a huge market out there for handmade pottery. There's a huge market out there for a lot of things if you'll think about it. Our world has come to a point where people get focused on things they want rather than things they need. If you're providing something someone needs and you focus on your needs above your wants, this system works, and it works very, very well. But if you think selfishly, and it's like, well, what can that person do for me? It doesn't work very well because you're thinking about you. You're not thinking about the rest of the Almighty's creation. And one of the things we've got to think about is others, right? Because you go, what are we called to do? Love others as we love ourselves. It's easy. The other comes first. Self comes second. Just something to think about until next time.
Until next time.
And until then, we wish you many, many blessings, everyone.
Yes, we do.